A successful rescue.
I left my coffee on the table to come over and see this.
How Florida's endangered mammals swam to safety. After the passing of Jimmy Buffett.
Oftentimes, it's not diagnosed very early.
A closer look at the rare kind of cancer that killed him. Lee is on the move, the latest from the 8 a.m. advisory. And how to prepare for hurricanes through the children's point of view.
It hit me that they had a lot of feelings.
These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Good morning, South Florida. I'm Julian Davis.
I'm Samantha Gutierrez. Today is Friday, September 8th, 2023.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
A happy ending for these marine animals as Hurricane Idalia not only affects Florida residents, but also wildlife. A community in Florida watched the rescue and release of 5 manatees that were trapped in a southwest Florida creek as the water subsided from Hurricane Idalia.
As the water in Cape Coral rose, the manatees were able to move in for safety while Hurricane Idalia swept through the region. When the elevated water receded, the manatees were stuck as the ledge blocked their path. That's when Florida Fish and Wildlife stepped into the scene to rescue these endangered mammals, but they had to be precise.
It's a group effort. What we're trying to do is separate the animals, trying to get individual animals into a section of this canal system so that we're just pulling one animal out, because what ends up happening sometimes is they kind of herd together and ball up. We don't want to try to catch 5 animals. There's a lot of animals rolling and don't want anybody to get hurt.
After a medical checkup for all 5 manatees, including the calf, they all reunited and it was smooth swimming from there.
New developments with Hurricane Lee this morning as South Florida watches and waits for the forecast turn to north. As the new advisory Lee, now a Category 4 storm, Hurricane Lee has doubled its wind speed in the past 24 hours, increasing to 165 miles per hour. Lee is expected to remain a major hurricane over the next few days.
Hurricane season can be traumatic, especially for the youngest Floridians. A new book is aiming to help. Caplin's Jasmine Monsada reports from the National Hurricane Center in West Miami-Dade.
Rosie and her dog Napoleon sat on the floor in the living room watching television. Mr. Matt, the meteorologist, stood in front of a map of Florida, making big, sweeping gestures with his arms.
It was this time last year that inspired Fernanda Farrell Zabala, her sister-in-law, and another author to write this book, Rosie and the Hurricane.
I have a niece and a nephew who I was talking to quite a bit during the hurricane, trying to entertain them a little bit because they were bored. And it hit me that they had a lot of feelings. They were scared, they were bored, they were annoyed.
Many Floridians prepare for the hurricane, but often forget to check on their kids. Fernanda grew up around hurricane preparedness. Her family started advanced hurricane technology, but it wasn't until that conversation with her niece and nephew she realized kids need a different kind of preparation. Then came the post-hurricane devastation.
We believe that the #1 need for kids is joy. So during the aftermath, we sponsored an ice cream truck to go to a food pantry to make sure that it provided free ice cream to all the families, and the kids loved it.
The need to help children kept calling her. They wrote this book, found an illustrator whose dog is featured in the story, and off they went.
My littlest one, her name is Olivia Rose, and she was the inspiration for the name, Rosie.
I'm Jasmine Moncada reporting.
Many fans are still saddened and surprised by Jimmy Buffett's passing, with his cause of death now known. CNN's Mandy Gaither has more on the Health Minute.
For the past 4 years, Jimmy Buffett continued doing what he loved, being on stage. Fans had no idea the singer-songwriter was undergoing treatment for Merkel cell carcinoma.
Oftentimes, it's not diagnosed very early because it's a rare cancer.
The American Cancer Society says that while the disease is uncommon, the numbers of people diagnosed with this form of skin cancer has been rising over the past few decades as the population ages. Scientists don't know the exact cause, but in many cases it's connected to UV exposure or caused by a virus.
It often presents as a nodule in the skin. Sometimes it's flesh colored, sometimes it's violet colored.
Those at highest risk are men, people with light colored skin, seniors over the age of 70, those who are immunocompromised, and people with significant sun exposure.
If you're having a risk factors and you notice a nodule in your skin that doesn't hurt, but it's growing relatively rapidly, make sure you have it checked out.
Like other cancers that come from viruses, the American Cancer Society says Merkel cell carcinoma is very responsive to newer immunotherapies.
That has really become the frontline treatment once the cancer has spread, with response rates which are very encouraging, and also some patients with very long duration of remissions.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Florida's governing body is anticipating the approval of a new college entrance exam this Friday. The Board of Governors will vote if applicants can submit a classic learning test rather than the SAT and ACT. This is a current attempt to change the education system by Governor Ron DeSantis. If accepted, the Sunshine State becomes the first state to use this type of system.
The nation's capital might witness another government shutdown if Congress does not meet budget deadlines. Paloma Pimentel from Caplin's D.C. Bureau is in Washington this morning.
The Republican-led House of Representatives and the Democrat-led Senate are still negotiating appropriation bills that would continue to fund government agencies and avoid a government shutdown, which can suspend hurricane relief funds for Florida. Congress has just 11 days before the end of the fiscal year on September 30th to negotiate 12 appropriation bills to keep government agencies like FEMA up and running. The GOP majority in the House is leveraging the idea of shutting down to negotiate spending cuts.
I think it's totally reasonable for the House to use whatever leverage it can to try to get as much good policy made through this process as possible. The Biden administration has to deal with Speaker McCarthy. That's just the way that our constitutional system is set up. So, yeah, I think it's appropriate for Speaker McCarthy to use his leverage.
In addition, the Federal Emergency Management Agency is awaiting $16 billion of additional funds proposed by the Biden administration. This separate funding would support FEMA's disaster relief funds and replace the funds that will be used to address immediate operations in Maui wildfires, Hurricane Idalia, and other disasters in the near future. We asked a government worker that works at the National Park Service how they would feel if there was a government shutdown.
Not easy, with the government salary. It's things get pretty thin if the shutdown goes for an extended time. So, in my position, we're not making a lot of money. So, a shutdown for an extended time would definitely hurt us.
With the hurricane season hovering over Florida, FEMA hopes to receive funding in the near future for assistance in disaster relief programs, which would help Floridians in the case of a hurricane. I am Paloma Pimentel in Washington, D.C., reporting for Caplin News.
The Marlins get blown out against the Dodgers in hope of keeping a winning streak.
That's still ahead, and so is this story.
A long time ago, I had a big, fat Greek wedding.
The threequel of this beloved movie is now on the big screen for everyone to see. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Really use a new tablet. I just don't have the money.
Let me ask you something. Do you have a Pell Grant?
Yes.
You do know you can get a free tablet, right?
Did you say free?
Yeah, free. It's simple. And the application is done in the store.
I could really use a tablet.
Go, get one. Another satisfied customer. Stop by Pantotech in the Graham Center at FIU MMC today to speak with one of our associates to get your free tablet.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life. But how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have something called prediabetes. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
That saves your life.
More than 20 years later, the Portocalos family is back in theaters for the third time. A new My Big Fat Greek Wedding movie arrives in theaters this week.
Caplin News reporter Daniela Thulke looks back into the history of the series.
A long time ago, I had a big fat Greek wedding.
More than 20 years ago, Nia Bartalos introduced us to the Portocalos family in My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
No one in my family has ever gone out with a non-Greek before.
Fast forward to 2016, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2 showed us married life for Tula and Ian.
Ian and I are just trying to find a minute to ourselves.
And parenthood.
Florida, Texas, New York. These are the colleges I'm applying to. Why do you want to leave me?
Payback. Michael Constantine, who played Tula's father, Gus, died in 2021. Bartalos says she wrote My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, reflecting Constantine's desire that the story continue.
My father passed away, and his last wish was for us to visit his childhood village and reconnect with our roots. So, we're having a reunion. We're going to Greece.
Oh, yeah. Fans of the first two films will recognize plenty of familiar faces.
I'm calling it. You got us back to Greece. You're the head of the family now.
I can't really day drink like this.
Don't worry, a lady is never drunk.
The movie marks a franchise first for Bartalos, who took on directing duties for the third installment. Reporting for Caplin News, I'm Daniela Thulke.
Marlins fans feeling a little bit of a letdown this morning after their team fell short of a sweep against the Dodgers. The Marlins were on a 6-game winning streak going into last night's game, but the Dodgers were just too much for Miami. LA's Chris Taylor hit a third-run homer, which was part of 10 unanswered runs for the Dodgers. The final score was Dodgers 10, Marlins 0. Up next for the Marlins is the Philadelphia Phillies tonight at 7 p.m. Stick around, you're watching Newsbreak. We'll be back.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Bill is a family man. He invests his money wisely and provides a good life for his children. Just one problem. He often opens emails from senders he doesn't know, and his computer is not password protected. One day, Bill checked his bank account and 94% of malware attacks originate from emails. Don't be like Bill. Take your cybersecurity seriously.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Samantha Gutierrez.
And I'm Julian Davis. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.